Welcome, everybody. Marc David here, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We're in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Gretchen today. Welcome, Gretchen.
Well, thank you.
Glad you're here. Where are you geographically?
I am in the northwest corner of Washington State near the Canadian border.
Oh, lovely. What town?
It's called Lyndon, Washington. It's north of Bellingham.
Yes, I know the Bellingham area.
Yeah.
What a beautiful part of the world.
Mm-hmm. Very lucky to live here. Yeah.
So I think you know how this works because you've seen the podcast before. If you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you want with food and body, what would that look like for you? What's the big wish?
The big wish is to get some insight into what I can work on in order to take the best care of myself. So I've kind of given up on, what the body looks like, but it's more of like, how do I do what I know that I'm supposed to do and take really good care of myself to be the healthiest I'm able to be.
And what does healthiest mean for you specifically?
So I think I'm a pretty healthy person, but I've always been overweight. So I've been overweight since as long as I can remember. And when I remember it being a problem starting in the first grade. I was 150 pounds. In the sixth grade, I was above 200 pounds. And I've always been an athletic kid, but I've had a hard time getting rid of the extra weight. So I just want to and I love food. And so I have a hard time, balancing my love for food. And then also making sure that it's I'm eating healthy and taking care of myself in a well-rounded manner.
Sure. So ultimately you want to lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how old are you now, Gretchen?
I'm 35.
35. So it's been a long time for you if this started at a young age. And, I feel for you. It's such a challenge when, any kind of problem starts in childhood that we don't know how to manage. So I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to just bounce around and my intention is to see if we can, provide some new paths for you to go down, maybe new insights. Let's just see where it goes.
Okay.
So you said you were 100 plus pounds, 140 pounds in, at a young age in grade school. In your guesstimation, how do you think that weight came on?
I think I ate a lot. I think that I didn't like school growing up, and that was a way that I found pleasure and joy. And I was a good student, and it's not like I don't know. I think I just really ate a lot of food. Mm-hmm. And my parents had 4 kids, and I was the youngest, and they did the best they could. So, but I think I just had a sweet tooth, and I was kind of a stubborn child, and I just think I ate a lot.
What did your parents think at the time, or even now, if they look back on it? If I was talking to them right now, I would say, okay, parents of Gretchen, why do you think Gretchen gained weight when she was young? What would they say?
I think that they would say that I just had an appetite and I was hard to control. And I think they would say I'm probably just kind of the way that I am, and that I've made the best of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe I had some anxiety issues, and so I used that a little bit. And my parents both kind of have some weight issues. So maybe I picked up some stuff from them a little bit. They're not bad. They're active and stuff, but they're not within the healthy BMI range, I would say. Mm-hmm. I would think that they probably, if they don't say this, but I would think they might think it was their fault because, I don't know, they're kind of hard on themselves sometimes.
Yeah. How's your relationship with your parents these days?
It's good. I have a good relationship with my parents for the most part, like anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's the weight experience for your older siblings, your 3 older siblings?
Yeah. So my brother, he was a little bit chunky. He was a lineman, but for the most part, he's been within a healthier weight. as he's gotten older in his like mid 30s and 40s, some has come on and off. And then my sisters, they're twins. They don't really have a problem with it. I think maybe they, when they had kids, they kind of expanded and shrunk, which is pretty normal when people have kids.
Yes.
So
in 2 sentences or less, how's your relationship with your twin sisters and your brother?
Good, I would say, for the most part. There's some like family rivalry that happens from time to time, which but I think we all really love each other, and we do the best that we can to support one another.
When did you first, and this might be a hard question to answer, so, weight started coming on for you sometime in, how old do you think you were?
I am 35, so I would say I was kind of chunky as a toddler, but it really happened, I think, in the first grade. So I would have been, 7? And that's, yeah.
Okay. How was your mother's pregnancy with you?
My mom had miscarried in between my sisters. She had miscarried. And then I was like her baby that, because she miscarried, she really wanted me to heal. And she had my siblings kind of really close together, unplanned. My brother is 1.5 years older than my twin sisters. And then I'm 3.5 years younger than them. So she had a lot of kids all at once. And I don't think she liked being pregnant. And I don't think she liked babies, but she was a really good mother. And I know that after she miscarried with me, or not me, she miscarried and then she had me. And I was a little bit late coming out, and I think I was a C-section baby, because I think that's what they did back then.
Sure. How old was she when she had you?
31, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
This might also be a hard question to answer. Do you have a sense of, what kind of diet your mom ate when you were in the womb?
I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of casseroles, because that's what we ate a lot growing up. I would think so. Growing up, we ate a lot like the standard American diet: milk, potatoes, meat. She was a pretty good cook, and I know my dad really enjoyed food. She worked full time and put dinner on the table every night and had 4 kids. She worked really hard. So I'm trying to think. I know I ate a lot of SpaghettiOs growing up, and let's see, she always tried to eat well. But she had a similar issue afterwards, where she tried, but she had a hard time managing her weight after she had kids.
Yeah, I'll just tell you and anybody listening in, I'm asking some of these questions about your mom, your birth, her diet, because what can happen for human beings is that our weight regulation metabolism can be impacted by what mama was eating in the womb, or mama's experience of life when you were in the womb. No things you have control over, so sometimes I just like to get a sense if I think that's going on. You were probably no different in your birth experience than a lot of people who have, parents who don't necessarily, who eat a standard American diet, and some birth difficulties, i.e. you're coming in a little late, it's a C-section. So we'll often be a product in many ways of our gestation and birth experience. That might be a small factor for you. But you're going to say something.
Yeah. I also know when I was born, my dad was in the hospital. He has Addison's disease, and he had a flare up. And so I know when I was born, there's a picture of me, he has a cap on because he was in the hospital. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that's a part of it.
When I say the word grief, what comes up for you? What do you hear?
I hear sadness.
Yeah. There's a lot of grief for you. it feels like, just around this whole weight experience. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's completely understandable. And what I want to really emphasize for you is that moving forward, tell me how old you said you were, 31?
35.
35. So moving forward on your journey to shapeshift your body. You want to shapeshift your body. And so moving forward, I would love to find some of the ways that you can start to recontext or restory this journey that you're on. Right now, weight loss and weight for you is filled with a lot of grief. It's filled with a lot of sadness. I get that you love your parents. Whatever difficulties were going on can impact you. Are you the kind of person that tends to absorb a lot from your environment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you shook your head and smiled on that one, so it's true. Some of us have good natural boundaries, and some of us are a little kinder, gentler, and sweeter in a certain way. And oftentimes our boundaries are not as good. So we tend to be sponges. Either way, when you're an infant, you're a sponge. When you're a toddler, you're a sponge. When you're a kid, you're a sponge. And my guess is also you were absorbing a lot from your environment that didn't necessarily belong to you, that wasn't yours. In your relationship with your parents, does it ever happen for you where you feel like you're being the parent, or you're trying to save them, or you're trying to rescue them in any way?
Yep. That happens from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me like a paragraph of what that is for you.
Sometimes I would say, because I'm so like emotionally in tune, I think sometimes I get come to with issues like from my mom, and my dad's being, insensitive or something. And then maybe I have to help them like get on the same page or see each other's side, or that type of thing. I remember that happening quite a few times, like throughout my life.
Yes.
So, because I was me and my mom specifically were more feeling types. And I would say my dad and my older siblings are more thinking types. And so they would oftentimes, I would be the one to translate the feeling with the thinking with each other.
Yes. Yeah. So there was a certain psychic responsibility that you had from a young age, because you were the one person in the system who can best align with your mother's emotions.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing. It's like in any group of humans, some people are more thinking, some are more feeling, some are more this, some are more that. Nothing wrong with that. What I find interesting, Gretchen, is that oftentimes any kind of dis-ease or weight challenge or eating challenge, if somebody has cancer, it's their cancer. If somebody has heart disease, it's their heart disease. If somebody's binge eating, it's their binge eating issue. If they have extra weight, it's their weight issue. But at the same time, these concerns are very shared. They are connected to oftentimes our family system. Yeah. So, as an example, I'll share with you, my dad got brain cancer when he was 53 or 54. And even though he's the guy that had a brain tumor, it impacted the whole family. And in many ways, very positively. There was a lot of just people came together, a lot of people healed. And in so many ways, I think his brain tumor was a product of a shared experience in his upbringing, where he witnessed some very difficult things in life. He witnessed a difficult relationship between his mother and father. He witnessed, hitting in the home. He witnessed violence in the street. And somehow we can take these things on that don't necessarily belong to us, but that kind of finds a home in us. So I'm feeling for you I'm intuiting for you that there's a certain place where you just naturally, because you're a feeling person, in the family system, you just took on a lot. And sometimes taking on a lot can show up as symptom. Symptom can mean anxiety. Symptom can mean this intense sense of responsibility. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to be? Symptom could mean headache. Symptoms can mean migraine. Symptoms can mean joint pain. Symptoms can mean eating challenges or eating a lot of food and gaining weight. Yeah. So I'm saying this because I would love to see you begin to take some of the shame off the table that you feel about yourself and begin to really notice the grief that you have and realize that it's old.
Yep.
And realize that I think this is a time for you to start to individuate more. That's your kitty that came in. So that means whatever I'm saying is right.
I think so.
He verifies it. Animal world. Yeah. It's to me, this is a time for you to individuate from your family system more. What I mean by that is you have to start to really tease out, who am I? Who is my family? What belongs on my plate and what doesn't? And part of that, I think, is noticing where you emotionally carry people. Are you married? Are you in a relationship?
Yeah, I'm engaged. I'm getting married in February.
Oh, so sweet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you find that you're the more emotional one in the relationship?
You typically, yes. Yeah, in our relationship for sure.
Yeah. So there's a certain place and that's fine. You know, if you're the more emotional person, that's what you are.
Yeah.
I'm interested in anything that's going to help you be in good relationship and loving relationship with your parents, but at the same time, notice the part of you that's very young. There's a kid in you that is just absorbing still, I think, and feeling all the feelings and not able to find yourself in all of that. And you've done nothing wrong. The fact that you've gained weight from a young age, there's nothing wrong in there. If you were truly eating too much, if that's what the issue was or is, eating too much, overeating, emotionally eating, always has a good reason. We don't do things for no good reason.
Yeah.
So part of it is understanding that you do behaviors, I do behaviors, we all do behaviors for a good reason. So if you're overeating, you had a good reason. And your good reason, I'm going to guess, was to manage the emotions and the stresses that as a child, you just don't know how to deal with. You don't even know what's happening. You don't know what's coming at you. There's a collision of feelings and thoughts inside of you that you're not old enough and wise enough to tease out and deal with. So you need some kind of stress reduction. And every human knows, even at the youngest age, feel bad, eat food, feel better.
Yeah.
So you did the strategy that is the most easy and common and direct strategy and actually works.
Yeah.
Food works as a de-stressor. Granted, there's issues that can come out of that if we're doing that too much.
Yeah.
So part of your journey, I think, from this day forward is you're learning in part how to manage your internal world in ways other than food.
Yep.
And part of managing your internal world is beginning to restory and make your life journey, what's happened in the past, begin to make it a better story for you.
Yeah.
A lot of the grief and sadness, I think, is just feelings that somehow I failed, I'm not good enough, I haven't figured this out, and I don't know what to do. And nothing's working, this doesn't make sense to me. And I can't get where I want to go. And at some point, we either get angry or we get depressed or we feel sadness and grief or any of them.
Or all of it.
Yeah. Yes. So it's interesting to me that you're in a new start with your life. You're engaged, you're getting married soon. And that's a step up for a human being in terms of individuating. Mm-hmm. So there's a part of you that is still that kid in school who's not comfortable and trying to manage what's going on around you and looking to food or simply feeling the stress of, oh my God, this is too overwhelming. How do I manage all this?
Yeah.
As I'm saying all this, what's happening for you? Any thoughts coming up for you?
Yeah, you're very wise, Mark. The things that you said, they penetrated. So you clearly have some insight that make a lot of sense. In terms of the too much feeling and absorbing, it makes a lot of sense because when the pandemic hit, I was smaller and I was in a good path. And then all of these feelings came up. And then as the feelings came up, I reverted. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. The individuation makes a lot of sense too, because I've heard that before. It's not like it's a new message. I went through some counseling, 5 years back. And that was one of the themes that I've heard of trying to individuate myself.
Yeah.
In terms of grief and restoring, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. I don't know. What do you think? Journaling, is that a good way to go about that? Or what are your thoughts?
Yes, I would love for you, if it feels right, to just write your autobiography, your food, body, and weight autobiography. Just write it out. Here's my story. Here's how it all went down up until today.
Yeah.
That might end up being a 4-page summary. It might end up being 14 pages. That's up to you. But I just want you to go through that journey, put it down on paper, and, just try to note the thoughts and the feelings that you had at the times that you're identifying.
Yeah.
What did you go through in grade school? What did you go through in junior high school, college? What was it like for you dating? What's it like for you weighing what you weigh and being in relationship with a person that you marry? So just get it out on paper for you to see. And once you do that, I'd love to see you reread that autobiography a couple of times and begin to notice where you were doing the best that you can do at the time based on the information that you had.
Yeah.
Because part of this is you forgiving yourself. And I don't even know that, and I'm not saying you've committed any crime or you've done anything wrong.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, because it's like the world kind of tells you it's your fault if you're fat, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
You kind of believe it after a while.
Absolutely. So we absorb that because we have almost no choice, because that's what's coming at you. Yeah. There's weight hate, there's weight judgment. Yep. And even when the weight hate and the weight judgment are not obvious and upfront, it's very insidious. Yeah. Because come on, get it together. What do you need to do? You're not supposed to overeat. How are you going to lose weight? Follow that diet. Yeah. And it's me. And you don't have a food problem. Okay. So if you're overeating or emotionally eating, that's a symptom. And I'm going to call it a divine symptom. I'm going to call it a spiritual symptom. I'm going to be calling it the kind of symptom that's talking to you and saying, hey, here's what's going on in your world. What's this about?
Yeah.
How do I, Gretchen, address this, learn from it, and listen to it? So the world is going to tell you, well, if you got extra weight, judge yourself and punish yourself. Punish yourself with diet, punish yourself with exercise. So you're going to do those strategies, and they're going to only be short term, because you and I, human beings, I have never met a human being who has said to me, I was able to transform my life. I was able to transform my body by just punishing myself for years. And one day I woke up and I was happy. Yeah. And everything was better. No, you and I transform when we introduce, honestly, love and light and consciousness. That's how we grow. So this is individuating means that you're now, in a lot of ways, your job. Do you plan on having kids?
I hope to, yeah.
Great. So let's start now, meaning your job is to sort of reparent yourself. What would little Gretchen have needed when she was really young that she didn't quite get from her parents? No blame. They were doing the best that they can. Maybe they needed to listen to you more. Maybe they needed to really understand your emotional world. Part of what happens to us in childhood is children are such feeling creatures. We're excellent observers as children, but we're poor interpreters. Excellent observers, we observe mommy and daddy, the world, this, that, but we're not good interpreters of what that all means. Oftentimes what we interpret is, oh, it's my job to fix this. I'm supposed to handle this. This is my fault, whatever it is. We make those interpretations. So as an adult now, your job is to be a good mother to yourself. A good mother doesn't judge her children. How does a good mother talk to her children? Kindly, lovingly, clearly. So it's part of your journey and part of your homework is to start to notice more how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
The internal conversation. And the moment you notice yourself going into guilt or self-attack or I'm not good enough, think to yourself, if my child was struggling with weight or with anything, would I say to them, you're not good enough? No, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't judge them.
No.
You wouldn't attack them. You wouldn't ask them to do things that are self-punishing. No, you would love them into transformation. So for you to get where you want to go, you have to like yourself and love yourself. And it doesn't mean you're going to look in the mirror every day and say, I love my body. But what it means is you practice more loving kindness, particularly in words and thoughts to yourself.
Yeah. Yep. That makes a lot of sense, Marc. Loving kindness and consciousness and watching myself talk and not punishing. And I know when I took your transform your relationship with food course, which was wonderful. It talked about being an experiment and seeing and being a scientist about your reactions. And that's coming to mind as you're telling me. So being more aware of when they're coming up and being better about when I'm noticing self-attack or self-punishment or judgment, being curious when it happens, and then being conscious of what I'm saying to myself and trying to reframe them as I catch it. Is that right?
Bingo, bingo, bingo. And once again, it's you. This is in part what individuation in part looks like.
Okay.
It's learning how to be, to get the loving adult that lives inside you to be in alignment with the little kid in you. So Gretchen, you're going to have times throughout your life when you feel like a little kid again, when you feel sad, when you feel grief, when you feel confused, when you want to emotionally eat.
Yeah.
And in those times, it's fine if you emotionally eat. It's fine if you overeat. Here's the thing. If afterwards you go, oh, wow, I did that again. How can you give yourself a hug? How can you love yourself up? How can you say, yeah, this happens to human beings. This happens to me. Nobody's perfect. And you're on a trajectory of growth. You're on a trajectory of transformation. And this is what it looks like sometimes.
Yeah. So
it's learning how you can start to shorten the amount of time between when you self-reject or when you've done a behavior that you don't want to do with food, and how quickly you can hug yourself, forgive yourself, and go, okay, that was rough. And here we go again.
Yeah.
Because then you're being with yourself.
Yeah.
Part of, and forgive me if I'm saying things that you already know, but one thing that human beings do when we are feeling stress, grief, sadness, anger, any kind of emotion that's not easy to contend with, part of what we do oftentimes is we look to escape.
Yeah.
We look to check out of the body.
Yeah.
So the good news is you have a sense of what it's like to be in your body. So you were still athletic when you were younger, even if you had a bigger body.
Yeah.
So being in your body means breathing yourself into it. And it means not necessarily trying to change it.
Yeah.
And I know you want to change it. So great. You know that. You're clear about that. You don't need to send that message anymore to your body. Your body knows that you want it to change. Part of helping your body change is to start to occupy it in a different way. And notice when you go into your head and exit your body. Does that make sense to you when I say that?
Yeah, it does make sense. I enjoy being in my body. And it's oftentimes when I get into my body, when I'm doing stuff, that I feel better about my body because I can appreciate it more.
Yes.
And so that's very sage. I'm also I do go in my head, and I know when I go in my head, and that's a good reminder that I need to get into my body and move and breathe and be aware, because that is when I have found the most success. Marc, you're so smart. Like, you're just hitting all of these like triggers, and I'm just amazed.
Well, this is kind of rapid fire. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you were a traditional client, we would unfold these things over a number of sessions.
Yeah.
Because we're only together for a short amount of time, I want to just give you my greatest hits of what I think might be helpful for you.
Yeah.
So there's things that you have to work with.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan of Marc's greatest hits. They've been right on right now.
That's good. That's really good. So How does your husband feel? How does your future husband feel about your body?
He's very accepting. I think he likes my body. I think anybody wants to see their person and as their best, like in their best self. But I mean, I think he loves my body, and he'd be happy if I stayed this way or not. He's really wonderful that way.
I'm so glad to hear that. And, honestly, I hear that more than not. I would say 90% of the time that I'm working with a woman who's wanting to lose weight and is in relationship, about 90% of the time, the partner, the husband, has really no issue.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating, because we tend to think that everybody out there is judging us.
Yeah. As a teenager, I thought that nobody would ever love me, and it just wasn't. That was a lie. It wasn't true, I'm
so happy you discovered that.
I wish I could tell all teenagers it's a lie. Don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. So a piece of the puzzle is learning how to really embody more in gentle ways, in baby step ways. I would love to see you create a list for yourself, an inventory. Everything you can think of: persons, places, things, thoughts, feelings, foods, experiences, anything that makes me feel good to be in a body. Food makes me feel good to be in a body. Certain foods. Sex makes me feel good to be in a body. Nature, petting my cat makes me feel. Just write an exhaustive list.
Yep.
And the reason I emphasize embodiment is because a lot of times what happens is when we're trying to lose weight, we're kind of outside the body, we're looking in at it, and we want the body to shift and do something.
Yeah.
And if you want the body to do something, you got to be in it.
Yeah.
If you want the car to go somewhere, you got to be in it. You got to just be in the car and operate the car on its own terms.
Yeah.
In order to move the body in a direction where it's shape shifting, first thing we need to do is to occupy it, is to be more in it. And naturally, we enjoy our body. Naturally, meaning when you're an infant, you observe any infant, they're just wiggling and writhing around, and they're not judging their body. There's a natural joy and sensation and touch in food and seeing colors. And we have that in us. And it sort of gets conditioned out of us as we get older and deal with all the craziness of the world. And there's a part of you, I think, that's ripe to rediscover just like the basic, simple deliciousness of being in your body, because that's a way to let your body know it is safe. Right now, there's a place where your body doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
You didn't feel safe. You go to school every day as a kid. If you don't feel safe, that means there's 6, 7, 8 hours a day where you're in a stress response and you're running from an imaginary lion, even though to you as a kid, it's real. This is a stressful environment. So you are on red alert. You're in a physiologic state of sympathetic nervous system dominance, where the body is pumping out stress hormones. And for many bodies, that continuous stress state can cause the body to retain weight, can cause the body to gain weight, can cause the body to have a difficulty losing weight.
Yeah.
Because one of the things the body does when it's under threat, the first thing the body does when it's under threat is it becomes a lean, mean, calorie burning machine for about 2 to 3 minutes. If you were truly in a life-threatening situation, you're being chased by a lion, your body goes into action. You pump out all these stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, insulin, noradrenaline, and you can run fast. You can make very instinctive decisions. Your brain is working on instinct. Your body is strong. But nature knows you only have 2 or 3 minutes in a real life-threatening situation. Something's going to happen in 2 or 3 minutes. Lion's going to eat you. You're going to run away. You're going to defeat it. When humans are in day out stress that doesn't resolve itself, even if it's low level, we tend to pump out more insulin and more cortisol. Those two hormones tend to track each other and stimulate weight gain.
Yeah.
And all that is coming from the belief that we adopted at some point. In this case, I'm identifying for you the belief that landed inside you. It wasn't your belief. It's a natural response to, I'm not safe. Because you didn't feel safe. You actually weren't safe. So you were in a necessary alarm response. Whoa, I got to be on alert because I'm not safe.
Yeah.
So from now until forever, one of your jobs is to start noticing and affirming to your body, to yourself, the ways that you are safe.
Yeah.
Now, there's always times when we're going to feel unsafe. You got to look both ways when you're crossing a busy street. Sometimes you're going to be in an argument with this person, that person, somebody close to you, and you're not going to feel safe.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. I'm not saying you should feel safe all the time. But what I'm saying is you could be feeling safe a lot more. I think there's a fundamental message that your body's hungry for. You're safe.
Yeah.
That might be another interesting inventory for you called, what helps me feel safe? Persons, places, things, thoughts, feelings, conversations, internal dialogue. What would help you feel more safe? Sometimes it's really just noticing. It might be really interesting to actually identify as well all the places in your life where you are safe.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have the perfect relationship, but you have a safe one. There's certain safeties in there. You might not have the perfect parents, nobody does, but there's a relationship there, there's love there, there's safety there. There's safety, there's a certain safety with your siblings. It might be with certain friends. I feel safe in my house. It's learning to give your body those signals so it can begin to unwind. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. It's almost like you're inside my body and it's like you're pinpointing like where I'm feeling. It's kind of crazy. And I know that safety is a big deal. And I think on an intellectual level, I know that in nature, if you're big, you're typically strong. And so it makes sense that, and then you're safe that way. So it makes sense that in order to feel safe, and you do that naturally, that you would, kind of relax, and then you could go back to whatever it is you're meant to look like. So that makes a lot of sense. And then I'm also feeling very understood. And so thank you.
You're welcome. That's, I think, what we need from each other, in general. it's helpful to have somebody that understands us and is not judging us, because then we can really come through. And, in so many ways, your body has served you up until now.
Yeah.
Your body has helped you feel safe. So there's a place where a big body has served you.
Yeah.
And I want to give you another assignment, because I have the feeling you're a good student here in this regard. When it feels right for you, I would love for you to write a letter to your body. Dear body. And I want you to say what's ever in your mind and what's ever in your heart. And part of what I would like you to include is, dear body, here's me in relationship to you. Here's what I want to say. Here's the things I feel good about. Here's the things I don't feel good about. And also want you to notice the places, body, here's where I want to thank you. Here's where you've served me.
Yeah. Appreciate it a little bit more. Because I almost feel like, as you're saying this, I feel like I'm like a frenemy with my body. Like it's my friend and enemy all at once. And in a lot of ways, it's really served me in amazing ways. And it's like I'm attacking it because it's not perfect, and that's not really fair.
No, it's not fair, and it doesn't work for you. And your body's been serving you. It's been doing the best that it can with the information that it has.
Yeah.
So your body hasn't abandoned you. It hasn't failed you. And it hasn't made you an unlovable person, because life has proved to you, as you said, that was just wrong. It was a lie.
Yeah.
After you write that letter to your body, I would love for you to write a letter from your body to you. So I want you to kind of channel what your body has to say to you. So just get in your quiet space and get in alignment with your higher self and whatever helps you feel in alignment with something greater than you. And what does your body want to say to you? And just see what comes through.
Yeah.
Because there's a beautiful relationship in there that wants to be felt and that wants to be cultivated. Your body wants a partnership with you. And frenemies work when it's in the friend part.
Yeah.
and it doesn't work when it's in the other part so much.
Yeah.
So you're learning how to make friends with your body, how to be in right relationship with it, how to honor it, how to honor the size of your body, and notice how that served you and how that's kept you safe. And the more you can feel safe, and I'm not saying that this is the same for every person who has weight that they want to lose, but I think in this case, it's just time for you and your body to get clear, like, okay, this worked for a time. There was a usefulness to this. And now, body and world, I would like to have a body that might be more of what my natural weight is, without the stress and without the need for my body to protect me.
Yeah.
And nothing's been done wrong. So, okay, how do I do that? And again, part of the way you do that is if you are in a sweet conversation with your body, a loving or a kind conversation with your body, is going to feel safe.
Yeah.
If you and I are in a conversation and I'm unkind and I start judging you and I start saying untoward things, you're not going to feel safe. No. So you know that. And now you're just going to take what you know about dealing with other human beings and apply it to you.
Yeah. Marc, I love your vocabulary, just FYI.
Oh, thank you.
You have great vocabulary. I liked how you said sweet, like a sweetness with your body. Like, I think that's a very rich way of saying, like, cultivating tenderness and love and kindness and sweetness. And that's something I don't think I've done a very good job of. And so I like the idea of that. Yeah.
And Gretchen, I think that's your nature, right? I mean, I am sure that the people who are drawn to you in your world, in part, are drawn to you because you're trustable. Like, you feel like a trustable person that's not going to judge me and not going to attack me and is actually going to feel into me a little bit. And well, that's amazing. Like that's a gift that you have. Yeah. And it's all about you taking that gift and, in addition to giving that gift to other people, starting to give it to yourself.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And that's also what individuation looks like. It's another way to say you owning yourself in a way that allows you to step into your potential and step into who you really are. So let me share this thought with you that I think a lot, which is that for so many of us, our body can reach its natural potential, its natural weight, its natural metabolism, its natural health. Our body can reach that place as we ourselves reach a place personally, emotionally, spiritually, that's our truer self. So in other words, as you become more of the person that you are meant to be, your body can become more of the body that it's meant to be. So instead of just saying, okay, what do I got to do to manipulate this body so it loses weight? What I want you to put first is, who do I have to be? Where is life calling me? How am I growing and evolving? Who's the person that I need to be that represents my best self? Yeah. And your best self, in part, is loving and kind and sensitive, not only towards other people, but towards yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your best self doesn't abandon people. So therefore, your best self doesn't abandon you.
Yeah. It's equaling out the equation of like loving others and loving yourself, right? Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. So if I'm really loving others and loving myself, like I have to do both, right? Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And as you know, it's not always going to be easy and it's not always going to feel good. Yeah. And those are the times that you hold that little girl, that young person inside you, and just give her love. And like, we're going to get through this. You're safe.
Yeah.
You're safe because I'm not abandoning you. You're safe because you have love in your life.
Yeah. What does it look like to, like, say you're in a moment where how do you tell your body you're safe? Like, what is, like, do you notice that you're like feeling unsafe and then just take a breath and say you're safe? Like, is that as basic as it is? Or is there?
Yes, absolutely. That is the most direct way.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I do it for myself most often.
Yeah.
I notice the times I'm trying to live a life where I'm connected to my body.
Yeah.
As much as I can be. So, all of a sudden I'm noticing I'm in a situation, whatever it is, and I'm not feeling safe.
Yeah.
So when we're not feeling safe, we're in some degree of stress response. The breathing pattern of a stress response is shallow, arrhythmic, and infrequent breathing. So when I'm in a stress response and we adopt the breathing pattern of a relaxed human, you actually send those signals into the body. Oh, you're relaxed, which means you're safe. Why? Because I'm breathing like a relaxed person. So that deep breath or deep breathing and breaths, along with, hey, Gretchen, you're safe. And just speaking those words, even if it doesn't work in the moment.
Yeah. Well,
you still feel unsafe. You're giving yourself those messages. You're building up that muscle.
Yeah. Because sometimes my body screams it's unsafe and it's kind of hard to, it just is so loud. And so it's just, I guess it takes practice, right? And repetition.
Here's why that's a good thing. Okay. So sometimes my body screams so loud that it's unsafe. So when you said that, my inner response was good. You know something? That's a smart immune system. Because guess what? If I'm in a dangerous situation, I want my body to tell me.
Yeah.
I want my body to tell me if I'm walking outside and it's too cold and I'm about to catch a cold or a flu, body, tell me something. Tell me you don't feel safe. So you have a mechanism inside you that says, whoa, not feeling safe.
Yeah.
Something is triggering you in the moment. It almost doesn't matter what's triggering you. If you can determine what's triggering you, fine. If you can determine like what hit that button that said, oh, I'm not safe. That's helpful because then you can notice it and then bring your adult mind into it. Okay, is this actually true? Am I truly unsafe in this moment? So the fact that your body is screaming that it's unsafe is your body letting you know, Gretchen, I really need you. It's like the little kid in you screaming for mommy.
Yeah.
Like, where are you, mommy? Like unsafe.
Yeah.
Like help.
Yeah.
So great. So that's a signal from your body that it needs your extra attention.
Yeah. Going back to the individuation, what are good ways to do that? Like I heard like recontexting my story, taking an inventory, writing letters, but what are some good practices for individualizing?
Everything that we've talked about, really, all of it is just a way. Individuating is yet another way. It implies that you're leaving the womb of the family system in order for you to better determine who you are without the influence of your past. Yeah. So in various psychological systems, and I certainly concur with what I'm about to share with you, in various psychological systems, from age approximately 0 to 30-ish, to right around 30. 30 is a demarcation point. From 0 to 30, we are living in a kind of reaction to our world and our life and our upbringing and what's around us, because that's all we know what to do. You're in grade school and you're just like, okay, there's this, what do I do? Here's my home, here's my environment, here's my parents, here's what I'm being told, here's what I'm learning. Okay, what do I do? How do I be a good girl? How do I make you like me? Yeah. How do I be safe? So that's what we're concerned with. As soon as we hit 30, something's born inside of us. And what's born inside of us is, hey, wait a second. Who am I? How do I want to conduct my life? What do I believe? You might have many of the same values and beliefs, good core beliefs as your parents and your family, and you might have other ones that are just unique to you. So who am I if I wasn't in reaction to my upbringing? If I wasn't needing to carry my parents' relationship, if I wasn't in a school environment that was unsafe, because you're not in school anymore in that regard. A part of us stays there. Part of us stays in the scene of the crime, so to speak.
Yeah.
A part of us continues to act as if I'm still living in my parents' house.
Yeah.
They're still judging me. None of your parents did that, but some people feel so judged by their parents. So they're walking around at age 50 feeling judged by their parents, but you don't live in their house anymore. So you can individuate. You can see, okay, what belongs outside of me and what's me. So you're doing that at your age. You're just right in the sweet spot for, okay, I am ready to notice that, something, I am safe. And there's logical facts in my life to prove that. I am not in school anymore. I am no longer carrying the burden of making it better between my parents or making it better for my parents. Yeah, you still love them and you're still going to love and support them in any way that you can. But there's also a place where they have their journey.
Yeah.
And you're not responsible for that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I hit 30, I felt that, that switch. It was bizarre. So what you're talking about is making a lot of sense to me. I literally felt a switch turn, and all of a sudden I started feeling like this is my life now.
Yes.
And I've been trying, to do that ever since then in ways. And it's interesting that you validated that experience, because I felt it, like something just switched inside of me where I was like, I'm making these changes, I'm doing these things. And it
is like a switch. And it happens again at age 40. There's another switch that literally gets turned on overnight, 50 as well. So, I just want to remind you that and I really mean this from my perspective, you're right on task. You're right on target.
Okay.
You've done nothing wrong and you're doing nothing wrong.
Okay.
Everything you've been doing is you trying to figure out, how do I be the best version of me? And part of the old strategy that you learned from the world was, I'm going to be the best version of me if I just lose this weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now, the way you're going to be the best version of you is you start to become the best version of you. I even want to say to you, focus less on the weight and more on the woman that you're becoming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And more on you embodying in a way that you're being loving and kind to yourself. And yeah, your body knows it wants to lose weight. It's kind of like being at your own birthday party. You make a wish and you blow out the candles. And then you kind of forget the wish. You just let life handle that, because you've given the universe, yourself, your body, you've given it the message, hey, I want to shift you. I want you to lose weight. So your body knows that.
Yeah.
So let it take a little bit of a vacation from making that the focus. And it's still there for you. And that's great. Yeah, I would like my body to find its natural weight. Great. Let's focus on you being more of the you that you're destined to become.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to start to find a real powerful resource. It's going to become easier for you to not turn to food, to regulate yourself. You're going to be giving your body the message that it's safe, which means your body's going to relax more, which means you're literally changing your chemistry. Because you can go on a 500 calorie diet and we can tie your hands behind your back and lock you in the basement and force you to lose weight, but that's not going to do anything.
No. In fact, every time I've tried to do that, I've noticed like my mental health start going, I just notice it's not an effective strategy, I don't think.
No, we can't force the body to go there because it's not an issue with the body.
Yeah.
So we've been hitting on what I think are the important puzzle pieces for you to consider. And I'm just aware of the time because we've been going for a while.
I know. I could listen to you for hours, Mark. In fact, I have.
This is just so much fun. Here's what I want you to consider doing is just reaching out to my staff at info@psychologyofeating.com at a future time. I don't know, 5 months, 6 months more, when you feel like you've been able to integrate some of what we've talked about and practice some of what we've talked about, and just use your intuition when you feel ready for a follow-up session, and just let them know that I invited you to, come back when you raise your hand. So I want to say, Gretchen, I really think you're just handling this in such a beautiful way. And you have the heart and the mind and the spirit to get where you want to go. And you're already doing it. And now this is just like an inflection point where you're going to really start to shift things, relate to yourself and your body in a different way. And you'll see it's going to feel so good. It's going to feel like a new life. The results might not come as quick as you want. I don't know. But just know for yourself that you're doing the right thing for you. We don't know how a body is destined to lose the weight that it needs to lose. Some of us, it comes off faster, medium, longer term. Part of it is trusting your body and trusting your life.
Yeah.
And just say, okay, I'm going to do that which I know is the next step in front of me.
Yeah. And
just trust a little bit as best I can that things are going to unfold for me in the right way.
Okay. Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Gretchen, really.
I agree. I've really enjoyed it. And thank you for all of your insights and taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Great. To be continued.
Sounds good.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care, and remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have